Hello there, people. I'm doing a quick video. Next week, well, tomorrow, probably later tonight, I am going to be reviewing Silent Night, Deadly Night, but I wanted to get this video out. Sorry, there's background noise. But anyway, um, the video today, we're going to be reviewing Jurassic Park 3, which came out in 2001. Um, I remember I was yeah, I was five when I saw this in the theater, and I just remember being, even at that, I was 5 years old, but I was so disappointed, especially after you watch like the first two movies and you get to this one. This movie is not good. I will say this: it left a bad taste in my mouth for 14 years until Jurassic World came out. I needed I just this was the last Jurassic Park film for like years, like 14 years, and I was like, this can't be the last Jurassic Park movie. There's things in it I like, and I think it's overall, it's not like a Last Jedi. It doesn't destroy the world of Jurassic Park. It's just a bad movie. Like, I think it's somewhat watchable. Like, if it's on right now, if I got nothing to do, I'd probably watch it in the background. But I would say, just it is really disappointing, and especially you compare it to the first two movies, it just doesn't work. So the film starts off with a young Eric Kirby, parasailing with a dude, and then they get attacked. We're supposed to speculate it was supposed to be pterosaurs that attacked them. They don't actually show you. Then we So the boat was attacked, and then they end up crashing on the island. So you got to remember too, this film is probably like, in terms of, this was writ. This film was, they didn't have a script when they shot it. They just started shooting, and the script was changing over time. Like, even the main antagonist in terms of dinosaur changed. It was originally going to be a baryonyx, but then they changed it to now the Spino as we know it. So this film was changed on the spot. There was gonna be another story where the dinos were leaving the island and attacking the mainland. That was one of the other stories about. So there was like multiple stories. Just, they were changed. Like, this film was a disaster in terms of like shooting. Like, they just started shooting. They didn't have a story. They changed the story several times. So yeah, like I said, so I think somewhere it was said that the what attacked the boat was pterosaurs. They don't show you, but we're supposed to assume they got killed by dinos, and then the duo who were parasailing end up on the island. So now we jump again to Alan Grant meeting with Ellie, who Ellie got married with somebody. I always hated that too. Ellie and Alan, I guess, got a divorce, and then just she ends up getting married to another guy. That never made sense to me, especially the way the first one ended, and it just, I always kind of hated that. Even as a kid, I hated that. Never made sense to me. So they're having conversations. And now Alan is giving a lecture at a thing. And if you see me looking, it's because I'm reading the plot. Because I'm sorry, I didn't want to watch this again today. So, and then he basically says, "Oh, I'm nothing can bring him back to the island." That's what it was. And the island, after the San Diego incident with the T Rex from Lost World. So this film is connected. They do mention like the San Diego incident. So he says, yeah, basically he's never gonna go back to the island, which then kind of brings us. We meet Billy, his like sidekick. Um, and he's at a dig site, and then we also meet. This is where the Kirby's, played by William H Macy and T Leone, basically offer the money to and then that, yeah, they're gonna fund the dig, and they just want them to go with over to Isla Sorna. So now we're on the plane. Oh my god, this is the part of the film that really makes no sense. So Alan is sleeping, and then he dreams he's seeing a raptor, and the raptor's calling his name. What the fuck? This is what, even as a kid, I always thought that was goofy. I'm like, wait, why is it talking? And then I get, oh, betray, it's a dream scene. It's like, I don't want to see dinos talk in any shape or form. This isn't Land Before Time. That is so jarring. I remember, why is he talking? And then another thing, this scene doesn't make sense. The raptor is designed on the one we see in the film with the feathers. Alan hasn't seen that raptor yet. The raptor he remembers is from the first movie, which is just the brown one. Why couldn't they just get the brown one? That just shows me laziness. They didn't want to have to make probably another fucking practical raptor, because they already had the ones for the movie they're gonna use in that movie with the feathers. So they're just probably like, we don't want to have to build another one and then paint it brown. It's probably out of laziness, and I wouldn't be surprised if, because Kathleen Kennedy um, was involved in this. So I think probably, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever suggested it, they probably thought it would be cute for the kids. Oh, a talking raptor, the kids will like it. It's like, but it doesn't work. Jurassic Park never had talking dinosaurs. Oh my god, this scene is bad. So then Alan wakes up, and it turns out, um, they're about to land. And then they land on the island, and then this is where the reveal really happens. The Kirby's are Eric's parents, and they're looking for him, and they're calling his name. And while that happens, something one of the hunters who was with them gets hurt, and then they all start running to the plane, and they hear a giant roar, which is the Spinosaurus. So this is the Spinosaurus. The first time we see it, it chases a guy, grabs a guy, kills him. They all make it back in the plane, but then they're trying to fly off. They accidentally crash into the Spino, and then they end up crashing. So they end up crashing into a tree. And I'll admit, this part of the film is actually pretty cool. Spino rips the front of the plane, kills the pilot, and then basically pushes the plane down off of the tree, and it crashes down, and then basically the group escapes. Um, then Alan, they end up running into the woods. Oh, we're getting to the part I really didn't like. So they end up in the woods, and they end up fighting a tyrannosaur, and everyone runs. The T Rex runs into the Spino, and then we have the battle. Oh my god, Spino kills it. And I think this was just to show how the Spino. Here's the thing: we didn't have any story on the Spino when this film came out initially. So I remember being a kid, and I'm sorry, and I'll admit it. It was a bit being a Rex fanboy as a child. I really hated this scene. I did. I'm not gonna lie. As a kid, I fucking hated it. I remember when we would get to this part, I was just and especially because how badass the Rex was in those first two movies for it to just get killed. But then we find out now that there's a lot of backstory on the Spino now, like that it was experimented on, and that it's not a normal Spinosaurus. It's basically almost like the Indominus in the other films. It was a hybrid. Like, I think that's probably why it was so big and it was super aggressive from the jump. So yeah, it was built on the island in 1999. So after the Isla Sorna incident in Lost World, so it was made. Um, it was highly tested and on. That's why it was highly aggressive towards humans. So Spino kills the T Rex, and then Alan confronts the Kirby's about what the real reason. They find the crash site of the plane, get some supplies, and I think we also find the plane, the body of the parasailer who was with Eric. I think there's theories out there how he actually got killed. Um, but they find the camera and they see what happened. So they find this abandoned. I'm assuming it's like a lab on the island. They go into, they explore it. This is where the raptors we first see. And I'll admit, this scene's kind of cool. So the raptors chase them around this compound. They make it out, but then the raptors continue chasing them into. They run into like this herd of herbivore dinosaurs. The raptors chase them. Um, Billy and Amanda climb on a tree, and she ends up slipping him. Well, because they see Udesky on the ground, and yeah, and then they stab him in the. I'll admit this kill's kind of brutal. Like the raptor stabs him in the back with his sickle claw, and he's like just screaming. She tries to help him, but she ends up tripping, and then she gets stuck on a branch, and the raptors jump at her, and then she's able to escape. And then the raptor kills Udesky by biting and snapping his neck. It's pretty brutal. A lot outside of that kill, though, the kills are not that brutal, especially compared to the second one, honestly. And even with Jurassic World gets pretty violent, which we'll get to. So the raptors run off, and then Alan gets confronted by raptors, and then he gets saved out. Then all of a sudden, smoke bombs get thrown, and then he gets saved by Eric, and then Eric takes him to his little, I guess, hideout in the island. Granted, there is books. I don't know if they're canon, but this was around the time this film came out. That basically is detailing Eric's survival on the island. I don't know if I personally believe that a kid can just survive on the island with T-Rexes, a Spinosaurus, of a Velociraptors, just a bunch of danger. And then keep in mind, what is he eating? That's the other thing. So they end up in his hideout. You have a little joke about T-Rex pee. So I'm assuming he probably uses it to. So I guess he's kind of like a hermit. So he uses the T-Rex pee probably to scare off rival predators. So like, in case like if a raptor's nearby, they spray that, and the raptors will probably just not want to fuck around with that. They leave the hideout, and then they end up meeting with so they end up meeting together. You have a little reunion. Then the Spinosaurus shows up. They run into this building, and they end up locking the gate. And then the Spino, I guess, couldn't break. It's stupid, especially the scene before. Before there was like this big gate in the barrier, so they get on the other side, and a Spino just walks through it like fucking nothing. But he can't break this door. Are you kidding me? I guess it's this like big door, and they put like a this big latch on it, and it's stupid. This movie's dumb. Oh, let's talk about these characters are fucking unlikable. I didn't even really get to that yet. The characters are straight up unlikable in this. Billy's a piece of shit, especially we'll get to what he does later. Eric's whatever. I mean, and the dad is not Paul. I guess Paul Kirby. Well, he's not too bad, I guess, but and I like T. Leone as an actress. I think she was. I think she was in Deep Impact, and she was decent in that. And she's fine. She's great in the first Bad Boys, but in this, she's just straight up unlikable. All she is Eric with the loud ass fucking bullhorn. It's like, what are you doing? We're in an island full of dinosaurs, and you're fucking drawing attention to yourself. And I guess by default we should all love Alan Grant, but it's like I feel like Sam Neill's really phoning it in this movie. Just his performance in this, he feels like he's phoning it in. You know, it doesn't feel like he's really trying. It just, and then the lack, you don't really get the majestic music of, John Williams in this a lot. You get it like in one scene, but that's it. Like, this film isn't okay. Like, if you want like just a dino kill human movie, I guess Jurassic Park 3 is fine in that, but as a Jurassic film, this film is just not good. Especially compared to the first two. Just we follow up how epic the epicness of Lost World with this. It's just such a step down. So they run into this building, and then and it come to find out that Billy stole raptor eggs. So that's why the raptors were after them the whole time. So Alan takes the eggs, kind of, scoffs at Billy a little bit, and then they continue, and we find this is where the bird cage scene happens. I'll admit, the only really great part of the movie is this whole sequence. They get down, they see. So they make it across. So pterodons show up. I'll admit this scene is actually really good. It's shot well. You got like the mist, especially when they're on like this bridge and it's just mist, and then the pterosaur just shows up out of nowhere. It snatches Eric, takes it to its nest, and Billy decides he's gonna go to try to save Eric. So he gets on a parachute. Um, he does, and he basically scares the pterosaurs into all chasing him. Eric gets saved. They fall into the water, and then they swim out of the cage wall and they escape. And we're initially to assume Billy dies, but he doesn't. Spoiler alert: in the end of the film, he gets found by the army, and he's like he's injured, but he's still alive. Fucking shit, he should have died, but and it could have worked too, because he could have had a decent sacrifice. Him trying to save him. Sacrifice himself to save Eric. But I like this whole sequence. I think this is the only real positive of the movie is this. And so that happens. They find a boat, and then they end up just kind of. This is where we get the little John, Williams music. They're just riding on the island. And they find, okay, this part's kind of gross. They find a bunch of shit because the Spino ate the satellite phone, so they have to dig in shit to get. They get it out, and then a Ceratosaurus shows up, just kind of looks at them real quick, and then walks away. I think this scene is just kind of a waste, like a lot of parts of this movie. I was checking it. But yeah, like, so it walks away, and then that's it. nothing really happens. They get back on the boat, so they have battery for one call. This is where we get they cut back and forth between on the island and then Ellie's house. So they call Ellie, and while this happens, the Spino attacks, and a shot basically a ripoff from Jaws. The Spino's fin is sticking out of the water while it attacks the boat, and then basically it starts attacking the boat and just destroying it. Ellie gets on the phone, and then Charlie's watching fucking. Charlie, I guess, is the little baby in the movie who they cut to watching Barney while this. What's fucking sad is this scene's actually kind of cool. Like with the Spino attacking the boat, it's raining. The Spino's attacking the boat, but they're fucking cutting to the kid, Ellie's kid, watching Barney. I don't know if they did this because they thought, oh, this is gonna be too scary for the kids, so cut it to. It's so stupid because this whole sequence is actually kind of cool, but it takes away because they're cutting to a kid watching Barney. Like you could have easily just cut it to just Ellie. I would have been fine with that, but they got to show the kid watching Barney. It's so stupid. So okay, Ellie. And so Spino has destroyed the cage where they were at. Oh, and Alan screams because they're like being submerged underwater, and then so trying to remember what happens now. Paul swims to a train. Um, he finds a flare gun. He shoots it at the Spino, but it ends up hitting the water and causing a big fire. Spino kind of runs off. The ending actually was supposed to be something different. The original idea was they find this thing that's supposed to, I guess, mimic a raptor call, which they talk about earlier in the movie. Alan was gonna use it, and I guess it was gonna work, and a bunch of raptors are gonna show up and fight the Spinosaurus in the end. Yeah, and basically the group runs off. So I kind of would have preferred that ending, but whatever. And to be fair, that's probably how we got the Indominus fight in Jurassic World. I'm noticing a lot of the new Jurassic World movies, they're kind of taking a lot of ideas that were going to be in previous and just do them there. Like, yeah, that's probably why the Spino in the end was getting, the Indominus in the end was fighting, the Indominus was, because that's probably was taken from this. So, okay, so they shoot the flare at the Spino. It walks off. And then they end up getting on shore. Then they get confronted with the raptors, and it turns out they still have the eggs. So they give the raptors back the eggs. Raptors run off, and then they basically get rescued by the military in the end. And then we see pterosaurs flying in the distance while they're on the plane. Or a helicopter, I don't remember what it was. Fuck this movie. This movie is really, as a Jurassic Park film, it's really bad. I don't hate it as much now because we got Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, so we got better Jurassic Park films since. But yeah, this movie was, the fact that this was like my last Jurassic Park movie for 14 years was just, it was painful. It's pretty bad. I think there's decent parts. Like, I think a lot of the action scenes are fine. Oh, and also, this film was like an hour and a half. Like, it's really short. Like, it feels like something that would have came on Sci-Fi. None of the characters are really likable outside of maybe Paul Kirby. And then I guess Alan Grant by default. But Alan Grant, you can even tell Sam Neill was phoning it in. Just, it was... Ugh. The Spinal was cool, even though it killed the T-Rex. especially with the new backstory that it's potentially a hybrid like the Indominus. I'm not gonna lie, I think the Spino's pretty cool. It was decent. I understand they wanted to do something different than the T Rex always being the big dino of the movie, but and keep in mind too, they also made it like that Rex that the Spino killed was a sub adult, so it wasn't fully grown. So, but overall, this movie is not good. I don't think I'd watch it again, or I'd go out of my way to watch it again. If it's on television or something and nothing's on, maybe. But I'm not going out of my way to watch it. So it was not good. I think there's decent parts. Like I said, the pterosaur scene in the bird cage is probably the best sequence in the whole movie. Or when the Spino's like initially attacking the planet, I enjoyed that stuff. But ugh. But other than that, guys, yeah, that's my JP3 review. Later tonight, I should be reviewing, if not tonight, tomorrow, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Finally, we're gonna get to that, and then probably tomorrow we'll do Friday Part 2. And Jurassic World, I probably won't. I'll see how I'm feeling Friday, and maybe Friday we'll do it. But other than that, guys, I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.